Do it.
All right. Going live. All right.
We'll do it live.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. The clock has started.
The clock has started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to Pressing for Flight. Those of you that have joined us after the big presentation.
Big.
Live from the Space Coast where the schedule never holds.
Never holds.
Never ever.
Never.
Oh, man. So we've all been looking forward to this since the Dear Moon presentation. Right? Like every time there's a presentation. Now I'm already looking forward to the next one. But, man, we had something to look at, you know?
Some great
Yeah.
videos.
Actual hardware.
And they brought the Falcon 1. I wasn't expecting that. I did not expect that.
That was cool.
That was a
Look-
curveball.
Yeah.
It's so tiny.
Well done, SpaceX.
I was actually, while I was working earlier, see, I drive for a living, so I can have like YouTube videos playing. I don't watch them. Sometimes I'll
Sure.
peek over at them, but I was listening to Everyday Astronaut stream. He was just streaming a couple hours before the presentation, and he's talking, and he turns around and looks. He's like, they've got the Falcon 1 out there. They started to lift it up. What a cool idea, you know? Like, this is where we were 11 years ago, and this is where we are now.
Exactly on the anniversary.
Oh, man. Yeah. When they almost failed. SpaceX almost did not become a thing, you know?
Yeah, he said that one didn't go off. They were going to be done.
Yep.
He was out of funding.
Have you guys ever gone back and watched those streams?
Yeah.
Have you?
Not
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah, you should, man. It's really cool. I mean, it was very rudimentary.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Sitting there, just sitting at a table, you know, just kind of commentating. And then whenever they made it, it's like you just hear everybody in the background just going nuts. And then Elon actually comes out, you know, and congratulates the team and everything. It's a really good stream. And I think it's still on their actual channel, right? The SpaceX channel.
Yeah, you'd have to dig a little bit, but yeah, it's on there.
Here, I know Matt didn't get to see this, so I'm gonna
Yeah. Yeah, I was checking that out earlier, actually.
Oh, you did get to see it? I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
I saw a little bit snippet of it, yeah. Look at that blue flame, man. Wow.
Man. Yeah, I think I say every time we talk about the Raptor, I'm like, man, I can't wait to see that in real life.
God. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, they put a bunch of their videos up on Twitter. What I want to see is the simulation of the Starship coming into the atmosphere, but I'm not sure. Okay, so this was a question.
They're really.
Here, I'll just mute that. So one of the questions that people were having was, I think it was Everyday Astronaut who was talking about it, like, how are they going to have the flaps? Are the flaps going to be out? Well, the render definitely shows the flaps being out rather than folded up, you know?
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is when you've got fins towards the top of your center of mass, then they can serve to flip your rocket the wrong way. But of course, you know, the engines can gimbal, and they can kind of account for that. But I mean, it just looks so much cooler with them out. I think they would do all they could to keep those out rather than folding them up because they don't look as cool folded up. And the fact that now they're showing 6 fins on the bottom of Starship, or on a Super Heavy. I don't think it was like that before, was it? It was 4 big fins, and did they fold out? No.
No, I don't think.
No, they were permanent. Yeah, they were permanent. So now you got 6 fins. And what was it you said earlier, Kegel, about it looking like Saturn V?
Yeah, the bottom fins. Cause it reminded
Yeah.
me of Saturn V.
Saturn was one heck of a rocket.
Yeah.
You can see it right there at the Space Center. Walk underneath it.
Oh yeah, I have
Oh, and
several times.
I didn't notice before that they had one. They had one showing basically the bottom with the heat shield. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Okay, how many they got burning here? Okay, the 3. Oh, that's Starship. That's not super heavy. Very cool. What else do they have on here? This is, yeah, everyone saw this part. So they'll use their RCS thrusters to. Oh, I didn't share the screen. I was talking about it as if y'all could see what I was seeing. So they use the RCS thrusters to, like, when they've got the 2 starships mated, like butt to butt, basically, they'll like thrust one towards the other, and just that acceleration will cause the fuel to shift from one ship into the other one. Let's see.
Smart.
Yeah, that's very smart. And actually, he didn't mention it, but that's one of the things that NASA's working with them on is orbital refueling. Right? There's like
so the other ship, it's like just a fueling ship that they're going to send up and it's going to hang out there because it's not the same.
I think so. Yeah, that's what they've said in the
even
past.
Even from the illustration, they look completely different.
Right. Well, one is like flipped backwards. Like you're looking at the belly of one.
Oh, it's supposed to be the belly. Okay.
Yeah. The one on the left, you're looking at the belly of it. So the way that they're rotated.
Because it's all black, and the other one's because it has to be all stainless steel.
Yeah. I wonder. You always have to wonder how accurate these renders are, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to have some starships are just for carrying fuel, and so they won't even it'll fill up the rest of that space with fuel, I would think. But then again, you might not be able to do that because it might become too heavy. I don't know.
Right. But I think the black, what you're seeing are actually heat towels. Like heat towels for re-entry. And they said that they weren't going to be doing the whole ship in those, just the part that was going to be coming down into. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's actually what you're seeing. It's just those heat towels.
It's the way they had it spinned in there. I thought it was just like a completely different thing they just had to send up just for fueling.
No. Yeah. Definitely some interesting stuff for sure.
Let's see. And of course, wait, is this the same render that we saw like a year ago, or is it maybe it's just slightly upgraded to have the
it
flaps?
Looks very familiar.
Yeah, it is. It's just today's Starship. It's got the flaps, and then these are the the covers or fairings or whatever for the legs. And then
It looks like from that illustration that they have it concreted down the ground and bolted in.
Yeah.
Where the legs would be.
Beautiful picture. Going by Saturn.
Big old solar farm.
And that must be Enceladus. That's a nice touch. You can see the geyser, the ice geyser, shooting ice out into space. That's very cool. I like the point that, he said that basically Earth is the only place that you need the booster on, the super heavy booster, except for Venus. But I just don't see us going to Venus. Unless it's to...
What's Venus got?
Well, it does have a solid ground, and that, it'd be nice, but it's just the pressure is too high. It's too hot. Maybe one day we could do the Cloud City thing, like Star Wars. I wonder if I can find the... I can quickly kind of scan over... I'm gonna try to find the simulation. Oh, there we go. Is it not going to let me do it?
Oh, you broke it.
So I can start it over.
But it won't let you skip through the video.
I wonder if I can do it like this. Nope. Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to wait for it to
Yeah,
officially
right.
come up.
Come on, you guys. Maybe if you do the truffle shuffle, maybe they'll let you do it.
Good luck.
Come
Oh,
on, you guys.
guys. I can only start it back over. Oh, man. I was like, well, I'm going to leave this video up so that I can reference it if I need to. But oh.
Error in our ship drive.
Ah, okay. So I need to pause it.
Then roll it.
Yeah.
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
How
There we go.
Starship enters and how it's controlled. It's really it's quite different from anything else. It's really falling, and so we're doing a controlled fall. So with a rocket,
It's really cool
you're
to
actually
see this
trying to
animation
brake,
of it, of those flaps actually
as opposed
working.
you're trying to create
That's what I
drag
missed
instead of
earlier.
lift. It's really the opposite of an aircraft. You want the most amount of drag that you can produce. And you want some lift, especially when you're in the upper atmosphere, mostly so that you can control the maximum heating rate. You want enough lift to keep yourself high in the low density portion of the atmosphere, so you can burn off velocity, and then so you want but then basically it goes like if this is the Earth, it goes at about a 60 degree. My hand is the rocket. It's going at about 60 degrees.
I like
his very technical explanation.
Yeah.
And then they show they show the final part of the landing.
And then you can get a sense for it. This is much better. There you go. See? Same thing. Look better with the hand? Okay.
It was a laugh.
But it'll look totally nuts to see that thing land. Yeah.
It will be,
Yeah,
Elon.
that'd be
It will be
crazy.
totally
Wow.
nuts.
It's gonna be totally nuts.
So,
I can't wait.
Who's that?
cool. So let's see. Talking about the Raptor engine.
Oh, hey,
So there's
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Julia is here.
Hello. Yay.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, Julia.
Nice to meet you. Hi.
Hello.
So did you get to
Hello.
watch? I know you said you were cooking dinner. Did you get to watch the presentation, or at least most of it?
Cooking dinner, making, let's see, doing laundry, cooking dinner, having a drink, watching the presentation. Yeah, did it all.
It was good. Now
It was good.
the first part. I was kind of surprised. Before the Q&A, there wasn't a whole lot of new information, was there? It was
No,
like
there-
if you follow this stuff, like you're like, yeah, I know, yeah, I know.
Yeah. It was kind of a rehash of, the last presentation we saw. Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was,
think even when Elon said that was he wanted to do this to excite people.
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. I need to
I
go
didn't
back
get
and look at my
excited till the Q&A. The Q&A was it for me.
Yeah. Ditto.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, he said the point of the presentation was to inspire the public. And he mentioned his thing. He always says, he wants people to be excited to be alive, and I love that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not as much of an Elon fanboy as I once was, but I still.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I mean, when I first stumbled across Elon, it was like, oh my goodness, who is this guy? Like, he seems to have the right idea, and he does, but he's still got a lot of weird things about him. I got burned on Tesla stock. Funding secured.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that bought in. It was like, oh wait, he's gonna buy it back at $4.20 a share. Okay, well, this isn't a Tesla show, but but yeah,
Or
no.
financial.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, we should be doing this kind of stuff because we need more than just problems to solve, right?
Right.
We need
Right. We need adventure. We need a little bit of that Apollo spark again, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think where some people have a hard time connecting with it is they're like, well, I don't want to go to Mars, so why would I care? Well, not everybody wanted to go out with Lewis and Clark either, but it was important that somebody went, right?
People thought
Right.
the Wright brothers were crazy.
Yeah.
That was a waste.
I'm not getting on one of those things.
Yeah.
Let's see. I do kind of want to go through my notes. I've been just kind of going through, Julie. I've been just going through some of the pictures that they posted on Twitter, and
Alright.
I went back and found the simulation of how landing's going to work with the flaps, and I thought that part was super cool. You know, like how those flaps actuating is going to be. But he, towards the beginning, and this is just kind of his spiel, and we've all heard this before, but he wants to make space travel like air travel. And in order to do that, you got to be fully and rapidly reusable. You need extremely efficient engines. They have to all return and only be refueled. That's the key. That's the part that is I think, even for me, I've been following them for a long time. That's hard to believe, to only refuel. You know what I mean? Because we sit out there at the port and we watch all the work that goes into that, and that's only like scraping the surface on what goes into getting a Falcon 9 ready for another flight.
Yeah.
Right. I can't imagine what they're doing. You know, I mean, there's a big question. You know, if you listen to some of the really in-depth like podcasts, like the one that comes to mind mostly is the Space Show. I don't know if you ever listen to the Space Show. Dr. Livingston, he always has different guests on that are really like in deep, you know, engineers and stuff. And the question is always, well, how much are they really saving? Because there's still got to be a lot of work going into that. And how are they going to get to the point where they literally just have to land the thing, refuel it, and send it back into space?
Right. Yeah, and that was one of those visions for 39A. I mean, they're adding that new pad now, but that's still not actually landing at the pad it launched from. Next to it, sure, but
right. Yeah, it does kind of seem like they've kind of backpedaled on that a little bit, but I think Elon still says, yeah, we do still want to try for that, right? Doesn't he say we still want to try to land on the launch mounts? They just need to make sure that make sure that they're not going to destroy the pad.
He doesn't want to take that one out.
Yeah,
No, not of all pads, not that one. So, I think there's going to be a lot of propulsive testing and landing before we get to that point of even trying to go back to the launch mount. But my understanding of the new pad that's being built, the landing pad really is, it's closer than at Vandenberg. It is literally feet away when you look at it. It's right within that enclosed gate. So
it's in the fence,
I mean, they get them closer, and it actually gets them scary close to the pad that's currently there. So they're inching toward it. Yeah.
Just seems like there's a lot of obstacles for it to hit if they're off a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, they in the original render when he was first unveiling the interplanetary transport system, they showed the launch tower being like on a pivot, right? Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they pivoted away, and then, I mean, yeah, if you're a little off, you could bump into it, but there's not going to be anything like overhanging the launch pad, right?
I guess
Gotcha.
they
Yeah.
better check those winds when they're coming in.
It's all going to rotate out of the way.
Remember what happened with that one that landed in the water?
Oh, brutal.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was watching that one from the exploration tower, and I knew. I was like, oh no. Of course.
That's it also had a hydraulic issue or something too.
Yeah.
It really,
you know,
but it was getting blown around.
and
it was windy.
it did what it was supposed to do, and it ditched itself in the water. But as any good photographer would, I trained my camera on it and just held the shutter button and took as many pictures, because I thought I was about to capture an explosion. I really did. I thought because I could tell this is not normal. It does not usually do like this. And and little did I
looked
know,
at all my shots afterward and went, "What in the world? It doesn't. Wait, that's a side I don't normally see. What's wait?
Yeah.
This isn't right."
And did you know that it was actually in the water, or did you think it was on land?
So I was actually watching it from an old camera pad by Launch Complex 5. So our horizon view was a little bit different, and I could tell it didn't seem to be going quite where it should. Mm-hmm. But I was actually standing next to an engineer from SpaceX, and he was kind of like, hey, it landed. And I'm thinking, I think something didn't quite go right, but we all went, well, it didn't explode. Woohoo!
Yeah, even from
and
the top
after
of the
I left the pad, I realized it would have floated right past us. So I'm like, oh
yeah.
shoot.
Yeah, even from the top of the exploration tower, like the trees were in the way for me to see that it was not on the pad; that it was in fact out the.
Yeah, you could
out,
just see the tip, and you
Yeah.
saw like the steam, and then it just went out of view.
yeah.
Yeah.
All over.
Let's see, Davis 404. I'm sorry, I didn't see when you posted this comment, but you said belief isn't necessary, and what do you envision being impossible tech wise? Well, I'm not an engineer, so most of the things that I've been able to see now that I live on the Space Coast, I probably 10 years ago would have thought that half of it was impossible. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so all I can do is listen
Pretty
to the
much.
smart people and be like, well, if they say that they think they can do it and they're putting their money behind it and they're working on it, I have to assume that it is possible. You know, like I mean, you can. I'm sure there's lots of things you could say that I'd be like, oh no, that's not possible. I know that I can't fly by flapping my arms unless I'm on Titan, right? On Titan, you could fly. Well, not by flapping just your arms, but yeah, if you put on some wings. Have you ever heard that the atmosphere is thick enough that you could just flap your wings and fly
Great
on
lift
Titan?
from that.
Yeah. It said if a starship ditches in the water, it'd float. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, it definitely was floating enough that it was actually threatening to go into the port channel, and they had to go quick grab it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I went out, just took some pictures when I came back in.
On the moon, you can fly by flapping. Oh, okay. I don't think so, Tim. And by Tim, I mean Davis. Nate Walking, space elevator. Yeah. How was real John? What's up? Hey, I think I know some of these people. Hey, we know you, John. What did you
Hi,
think, John? Give us your thoughts, bro.
And now I gotta wait for a delay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like the 10. Okay, let's go through some of these. Let's see. Oh yeah, the full stack is 118 meters. Did we already know that? Was that? I feel like that is.
I think we kind of knew that one.
How
Yeah.
tall? How tall is Saturn V?
Oh,
Anybody know?
not off the top of my head. I know it's
No.
pretty massive.
How tall?
We're all going to Google that one because nobody knows right off the top of our heads.
Yep.
360, 363 feet.
111 meters. So they got him.
Oh,
They got him by
so
7
7
meters.
meters.
Nice.
And Saturn V, like probably the last couple meters was that launch escape tower too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go into some of the. By the way, if you're watching this, I'm terrible at taking notes, but I did my best. So
did not attempt.
somebody asked him about the flight test program, and this is where it kind of got surprising. He said in 1 to 2 months they're going to do the 20-kilometer flight with Starship. So Starhopper's done. There, for a second there, when we were watching, I was like, "Wait, is he talking about Starhopper?" No, Starhopper's done, right? So they're going to do their 20-kilometer flight in about 1 or 2 months. And then he said the next flight might be a full up, like try to go to orbit.
Yeah.
Try to go to orbit on the next one. That's like, that's
I would like
insane.
to believe it.
Yeah.
And now he can't be talking about with Super Heavy, because later on he talks about how Super Heavy, they're not going to start working on Super Heavy until after Mark 3 and 4,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So that'd be just probably more tests going 65,000 feet, bringing it back down, maybe.
right. So they're going to start building Mark 3 in about a month, and that one's going to be in Boca, and so Mark 4 is going to be here. Julia, do you think they're going to keep building over in Cocoa, or are we just not going to be able to see the progress at all because they're going to move it all to Kennedy? What do you think? We can speculate. We don't know
my
anything.
gut
All we can do
tells
is
me-
speculate.
My gut tells me the transportation costs are awful high, and
Yeah.
that they're building Roberts Road. But on the other hand, there's an awful lot of money already put into infrastructure over there, and they just cleared where they're clearing that path to get Starship through to transport.
Mm-hmm.
They just built a huge clearing that I don't know if it's going to be parking. Is it going to be staging because they're building 2 prototypes apparently?
Right.
Could be.
And then you add the complication of the rail line, and that cuts off. Once that gets going, that
Yeah,
actually cuts off their exit route.
Talk about the rail line again, because I know we talked about it before, but how does that get in the way of being able to
With the
move Starship?
construction on the road.
Is it a bridge
So,
that they're going to
yeah,
build? Is that what it is? There's going to be a bridge right there or something?
Yeah. So what it is it tunnels under. It runs along 528 A1A,
Mm-hmm.
and it tunnels, which is kind of crazy for Florida in itself, right?
Yeah,
So it's going to tunnel under the water, and it comes back up. Well, when it comes up on that 528 section, it's going to run basically parallel, and they have, which means basically means those eastern ramps that get onto A1A
Mm-hmm.
are going to have a new overpass, and that new overpass is going to be the rail line. The reason they were going contra traffic was not only to get to the water, right, to be on the correct side, but because those were unobstructed ramps.
Right.
So now they have to add the infrastructure for this overpass, which potentially is going to narrow your lane, and unless they're working directly with Virgin Rail, I don't see how it's going to be. I don't know. I haven't seen the height of it, so I can't speak to the height. If the height is tall enough and they transport horizontal, like I think they will, because they'd be crazy not to.
Yeah.
That's unstable on that highway.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that's tall enough, maybe it is, and maybe I'm missing something there. I just know it crosses both of those ramps on the eastern side, and with that overpass, there's no way to get to the other side as it exists now, because it's only like 13-foot clearance.
Right. Here, I'm going to
So-
share my screen, and you kind of help guide me. Like, where does that rail come through? Is it right here?
Yeah. So yeah, basically right at the base there is Cemex.
Because I
It's
see
gonna
they've
cut off.
already got it, like, marked here, the East Coast Railway.
Yep. That you can see all the rail ties are actually all lined up right at the edge of Cemex there where the clearing is.
Oh, let's zoom in.
So all those giant stacks out there of I don't know. I mean, it's just basically big concrete rail.
Oh, is
That's
this
all
right here?
stacked up.
Is this
Yep,
part of
right
it
at
right
the
here?
corner.
There's also more.
Mhm.
If you go to the right, keep going towards the Walmart. Keep going.
Yep, there's more back that way.
Yeah.
There's big old rail stacks that way. So
Yeah.
then when you turn on, if you keep going down 528 and you go toward like Highway 95, you can totally see along 528 where they've already got it cleared and waiting for rail line to just be installed. They're just
okay.
grading it now. But that's got to run across Industry
Yeah, there's a
Road.
little- if you look at Walmart, there's a little road, and if you zoom in right there,
Where's
that's at
Walmart?
the end of Clear Lake. You can see it on the map. It says
Yeah,
Coke
Clear Lake
Walmart-
Road.
Coke Marketplace. It says, I think.
Clear Lake Road. Clear Lake Road.
It's kind of at a bend. You're gonna see another bend.
Oh, is it down here? Oh, Walmart. Okay, yeah.
So just zoom in right there, and there's a little road that the 520 takes a little bend right there, and there's a little like smaller road. You zoom in there.
Yep.
There's a ton of ties right there.
Yep. And those have been stacked and waiting for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So once it's kind of nice because they did all that clearing, and you can clearly see where the Starship build is now when you're on A1A 528. It's kind
Right.
of cool.
Yeah.
But
By the way, if you're
that's
watching,
what's all going to get built.
this is where Starship is right here, if you're watching and you don't know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's an alternate route, or maybe by chance that overpass is going to be tall enough to get that giant, structure through. But
is it possible to make a railway into like a drawbridge? Just like have SpaceX pay for it,
Well-
Like have SpaceX say, "Hey, we're going to pay for you to make this section of it where it will raise."
Well, that's
Yeah.
actually not such an odd question, because if you look out over the Indian River Lagoon near, just to the north of Titusville, there's a rail bridge that has, it's almost always lifted up, but it is built so that boats can pass through there. basically like a drawbridge.
Okay, so you can't. Yeah, see that was my question. I wasn't sure if you could safely do that with rail. You know.
Yeah, because that's
Well,
where they
roller
brought the
coasters
shuttle
can do
boosters
it.
over on that.
True that. Yes, they can.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it in those terms, I don't think they're terribly long high-speed trains. I think they're like 9 cars, is my understanding.
Right.
Fairly lightweight. I don't know how often they run, but yeah. Um, I don't know. So I'm still trying to get get a public records request in so I can see that application for transport and maybe get a few more details. But
Right.
it sounds like now News 6 had gotten a hold of them and they're looking at late October now. So hey, your trip that you're planning, don't worry, Starship ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
saw that. I saw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
late October, early November. So I don't know. It makes me think they're not too concerned about that rail line.
Yeah. Or maybe they know that the rail line is going to be
It's
behind
going to
schedule
take a
or
long
something.
time.
Maybe. I mean, they've got a lot of rail line to build. They could put that off, but it doesn't really change down the road then. I mean, what are you going to do down the road? Are you going to keep building at Sideco or Sidco and just build things big enough like the rings that you can transport over to Roberts Road? But what's really the point there if you're continuing to expand the facility they're currently at?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's potentially other exit routes. It just might be a little bit more involved. I don't see too many of them that are going to go out toward highway like US 1,
Yeah.
because honestly, US 1, you've got too many overpasses, too many lines to deal with.
Yeah.
You can't go north on US 1 because there's a pedestrian bridge and there's nothing
Yeah.
you can do about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your only other option is to somehow get to, no, I don't know what your other option is, because if you make it out on Industry Road or Sideco Road to US 1, you've still got another overpass before you can get on, well, maybe contra traffic. I don't know. That A1A is hard to get to out of there, and just getting out of Industry Road area is going to be hard.
Yeah.
It seems like a logistic
Maybe there's a
nightmare.
back way down Grissom, but boy, that's a long trip down Grissom. And then you've got the neighborhoods to contend with back that way too.
Right.
I wouldn't
yeah.
mind it going by my house. Like,
Right.
"Hi, Starship."
Yeah. You.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, I got prime spot there.
I gotta hide that.
I'm only a
I've
mile
got-
away as it is.
I've got Kegel's house pinned
Oh,
on
my house is
on
pinned
my
there.
on my Google account. it's
Oh,
like
that's awesome.
it's like Kegel's house. I'm like, oh no. I'm showing
Whoops,
everybody where
sorry.
Kegel is.
Someone's gonna come. No one's gonna bother me.
Yeah, someone's gonna be like, hey, can I come stay over and look at Starship?
I got an acre lot. I could park some cars. We can ride over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
$5.
yeah, and
That's
I'm
all I'd
honestly
say, $5 a car.
waiting. I think Starship's going to get a little harder to look at coming soon. I've had at least one experience where that road going down on Sideco at night isn't as accessible. I think they're starting to move that guard shack up a little bit more,
Yeah.
especially now that they created that clearing on the other side of the cul-de-sac. If they plan on using that to actually do work on, I can't even be mad. It's going to create a hazard for the people working there. So I would expect our little drive-bys and hellos to the guards are going to be ending fairly soon,
Yeah.
unless you get permission to be back there.
I wonder
And
if we'll
we got-
still be able to go to around FedEx at least, It'd be nice.
Yeah,
I look at the shots that come out of Boca Chica and I'm just so jealous because it seems
Yeah.
like they're unobstructed,
Nope.
and they're unobstructed.
Completely open.
Well, and
They are
there's
like,
nothing we're going to
physically.
be able to do.
I know.
We're never going to be able to see the ground ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what angle you take. You can take some of those back ways where the people go dirt biking, and there's risks to that too. Shoot, I went off a back road and found a guy living in a camper out there, and I went, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa,
I
turn
saw a
back.
little camper out there.
I don't know what's going on here, but I don't feel like I belong here, and neither does he, but I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And those back roads, they have their own risks too, because you're toying with that whole idea of trespassing,
Yeah.
which we don't want to do that. FedEx just got to remember they're going to get busy with the holidays, so
That's
Mhm.
true.
more truck
I'm
down
torn. They're very welcoming down there. Everybody I've run into. The problem is, the more I look at it, I think that's all their property. that whole little cul-de-sac area, I think that's theirs. And they're just kind enough to let us be there.
You know, I happened to go up there one time when there were a couple of police officers, and they were just doing some dog training. You know, just like they were messing with their dog.
Oh, sure.
And I drove past them down to the cul-de-sac, and then I was like, I'm gonna turn around and ask them if this is a public road. And I was like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
you
what'd
know,
you
can
say?
I just ask you a quick question? And he's like, yeah, sure. I said, is this considered a public road right here? He's like, well, yeah, I think so, but don't quote me on that. I'm like,
Yeah. Have you ever noticed the street sign is their address? That's what makes me wonder.
oh, it is? I don't think I
Yeah.
ever
The
noticed
street
that.
sign is
The
literally
address,
their
yep.
address. And that's why we always see those FedEx trucks down there doing maintenance. So, and I have stopped and said hello to them too. And they don't mind. Another gentleman stopped down there when he was dropping off his truck. And he's like, so, been seeing a lot of you guys down here lately.
Really?
Yeah, we try and stay out of the way. I hope you don't mind. He goes, it's just going to get really interesting at Christmas time, probably because the contractors are lining up waiting to be loaded.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So-
And that's why they're getting all their trucks
Yeah.
fixed up and everything.
So
Yeah.
all we can do is really hope that everybody has courtesy, because I would hate for them, to have to put restrictions on things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Most
for
people
sure.
are in and out. They see it, they take a picture, they leave. Today, oh my gosh, I caught something being lifted by a crane.
Ooh!
How rare is that? I know, right? Something going into the main nose cone. Woo! But half the time you don't know what's going on because you can't see the ground. So I'm jealous
Yeah.
in that respect.
Yeah, super
It's cool we
jealous.
get to see it, but a lot of times we just don't really know where things are moving. I've now learned what it looks like when a crane is moving a ring. Woo-hoo.
Oh, yeah?
It
Yeah.
doesn't really lift them. It just must scoot them around on the ground. But yeah, so if that
Oh.
white crane ever goes up and it just swings a little bit and then goes back down, they moved a ring. That's all I got for you.
Moved a ring.
Then you gotta wait for that lovely overhead view that we occasionally get.
Right, yeah. It seems like the people in the plains are about the only ones that can really get those real informative shots,
Yeah.
Totally. Or one guy's
Yeah, and then we
using a
just
drone
gotta-
or something.
Do what?
One of the guys is
Yeah.
using a drone because the
I'm
real
not a
good
good
pictures.
drone
I think,
driver.
It's
are-
been a while, I think, since I've seen a drone shot, I think. I mean, it's hard to
Well,
tell what's a
and there's
drone and
nothing
what's
wrong
not.
with a drone. There's nothing wrong with a drone shot. My understanding is it's still okay there, but you got to keep in mind the people that are in the air, because sometimes those are student pilots too. So
Yeah.
those wayward drones can really freak some people out. So, having that courtesy for that flight path, but you can fly them there.
Well,
How do they
Stay the
go?
heck away from their property, though.
Yeah, you're not supposed to fly
Yeah,
over.
you got to do those. Yeah, don't fly over, please. Please,
I
y'all,
bought-
don't do that.
Don't do
that.
it. If you're out
I
there.
bought a drone a few months ago, and then I started. I got an FFA, the hobby license, and then I learned you basically cannot fly it anywhere. It's illegal. Like I can't even fly it over my own house because I can see a view of my neighbors, and I'd have permission from my neighbors.
No, what?
Are you
No,
kidding?
that's the way it
Yeah.
is. No, I read into it, and
Wow.
that is the way. That's the way the law works.
I thought as long
Whoa.
as you were filming, like,
Mm.
from somewhere outside of.
No, filming other people's property without the permission is still technically you can get.
All right.
They can go after you.
But wasn't this all
Wow.
part of the whole discussion about when
Yeah, because you need a license now.
were there?
Well, that
or you
commercial
didn't need a
license is
license.
different. If you have a commercial license, that's different. But if you get a commercial license versus a hobby license, it's a different story. The commercial license, you take a commercial license test. You basically you're taking a pilot license test. You got to learn all the maps and all. It's like getting a pilot license without flying an actual plane.
Right.
Like what you have to learn.
Oh,
And I was like,
okay.
Ugh, I don't want to learn all that. I'm not
Yeah.
that interested.
now does that
Right.
just go
Yeah.
for drones? Because I thought, like, if you were, say you're filming from public property, you can film anything or take pictures of anything around you. If you can see it, then it's free game as long as you're standing on public property. But is it different with drones? Like once you
It's
leave the
different
ground, it's like then the rules
Yeah,
change.
your cap's 300 feet. You can't go more than 300 feet. You cannot fly over people or near people because if it falls.
Right.
So
Okay.
there's
Fair
a
enough.
lot. There's a lot of, I like the other day when we were at the beach for one launch. This guy was flying one around on the beach, and I was like,
Yeah.
But I don't know who goes out and anyone that really enforces it. But if that
Yeah.
thing falls and it's more than 300 grams, it's not going to be a good day for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, somebody commented here that you have to have a license for anything that's over a 50-pound drone. A 50-pound drone, though?
That's a
They're
big
that
old
heavy?
drone.
No, it's not 50. It's over 250 grams. You have to have it licensed with the FAA. Either a hobby license or a commercial. I don't. 50 pounds is a different. That's a different license. That's a whole different thing. But any one you can buy if it's over 300 grams, which is, after you get past the little cheap ones you can buy at Walmart, those are fine. You can buzz around, do whatever you want. But once you get over 250 grams, you have to register with the FAA and follow those rules.
Interesting.
Wow, very interesting. Yeah. I do have a drone, but it's definitely not capable of taking shots like that. I have like a practice drone.
Well, thanks for that lesson there, Kegel. I did not know that.
Welcome.
So,
That's why I returned mine.
so there was a question
Scratch
of
that idea. We're not going there.
yeah. I wasn't planning on doing a drone. I think. Well, I don't want to name names, but yeah, somebody, a photographer that we know around here, did take some drone shots from of Starship here, but he did it the one time, and he's like, I don't want to take any chances with breaking rules.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it's so touchy down here too because they've kind of set that tone already with the sign that got put up to not go down the road. So they set the tone. So even our local media, who would normally be all over this stuff, all the local photographers, you get that impression that not really going to go there. Maybe we'll go over to FedEx. Maybe we'll take that shot from the cement place, but we're not really going to show ourselves.
right.
Yeah.
We might not even really post that shot because, shoot, if
It gives
this is
away
how
where
they
you're
feel
at.
about parking, then how do they feel about giving me a media pass next time?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
it's not getting that kind of coverage. It's still been pretty much left up to social media to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, it's like whenever I go somewhere to shoot, I've always got time lapse in the back of my mind, and to do that, you have to be there for a while,
Yeah.
And so I've done one. I didn't bring the entire rig. I wasn't even planning on doing it. And I was like, well, it seems like it's all good. Let me just set up my tripod, and I'm just gonna take a little time lapse. Maybe I think I was there for maybe an hour. And I did some time lapse. Nothing happened. Nothing of real interest happened. But the sun was going down, and I thought it'd be neat. But yeah, it does not feel like it's okay to just hang out there for long periods of time.
No, that's why I laughed when, oh my gosh, who was doing a thing? Oh, it was when MK1 was getting stacked yesterday, and I tuned in on Lab Padre's stream, and eventually it comes across, why doesn't anybody have a live stream over at MK2? And I just started laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like, first of
Harder
all,
said
things
than
don't
done.
happen quite as fast. Second of all, you're only going to see that view from, halfway up there.
Yeah.
And the crane's moving, but you're really not going to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to hang around that long. It's
Yeah.
just not. And with nobody owning private property there,
Yeah.
nobody's running a stream.
Hey, unless everyone wants to invest in a tower, I'll put it in my backyard.
Yeah, I was gonna
put
say,
camera up there.
Right?
I'm a mile
Right.
away. I can get a good lens. We should be able to see something. Who wants to invest?
I've been told,
it's-
why don't you go bake cookies? Go bake cookies for the guy at the cement factory and put it up on his tower. And I went, oh yeah, like him as the neighbor's really gonna go for this one. Mhm.
Right.
Put up on that the reclaimed water tower. That'd be a good spot.
There you go. Oh, that'd be perfect.
City of Cocoa. Hey,
Yep. Hey, I think we know somebody that works for them. So, Public Works. Yeah, we're on that.
Let's see. Let's kind of go through some of the questions. One of the questions was, will the first crewed flight be from Boca Chica? Basically, his answer was, could be.
Could be, yeah.
50-50.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, probably there will be crewed flights from both sites, but there's a 50-50 chance that it could be, the first one could be from Boca Chica.
Oh, I can't wait for the one here.
you think it'll mostly have to do with getting for the local town and FAA licensed Boca, it'd probably be much easier to do it here
Oh
than it would
yeah.
be in Texas.
I find it highly
Yeah.
unlikely. I mean, well, first of all, he said in let's see where he, let's see my notes here. He was talking about possibly crew within the next year.
Yeah, no.
I
Ah,
find
see,
that
I think
yeah.
Gwen was
No way.
cringing when she heard that one.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah.
Hmm.
That's highly unlikely.
I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I really do think that Elon's trying to get better about his Elon time, but it's in his nature to be optimistic about timelines, and that's why he's been able to accomplish what he's been able to accomplish.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
because he sets these timelines, and yeah, they're not very realistic, but it does drive his people to try to meet them, at least try. And I mean, that's why they've gotten as far as they have in such a short amount of time.
But with Eon doing everything that he's doing, look what space has done as far as setting the tone now. Okay, so you have Jim Bernstein now, that thing that he put out the other day. You know what I mean? Them over there,
Yeah.
they're feeling it now with the SLS. They're like, wow, look what SpaceX is doing. You know what I mean? Like they are like, look what they're doing compares to look what we're doing. You know what I mean? There's kind of half and half on that whole thing that he put out. You know what I mean? But I see his point. You know what I mean? And I see other people's points. It's like, look at all this, look at all these taxpayers' money and everybody that's getting put into the SLS, but yet look what SpaceX is doing. Like they're absolutely accelerating with everything that they're doing. You know, but yeah, he has his timelines. You know what I mean? But for the most part, he's pretty good with this stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
It
maybe
does get done.
right, exactly, and just maybe asking some people at the SLS, maybe they can kind of take notes and be like, hey, maybe we can learn a thing or two from SpaceX. You know what I mean? Just maybe, just a
And to
little bit
be
of note.
fair, SpaceX is building Starship out in the open, in an open field, basically. Whereas, the components of SLS are being built in a controlled environment and indoors.
Right.
And also, NASA's a government agency, and
Well,
they can't
or-
really afford to do tests like they can't afford to do like a Starhopper type test, because if something goes wrong, then they're at risk of losing their funding.
Also, I
Right.
said they already have the facilities too.
Yeah,
versus SpaceX does
that's
not.
true, but they
Whereas-
can also take a little bit of notes from SpaceX too. You know
Oh,
what I mean? At
absolutely.
least,
I totally
you
agree
know.
with you. Yeah, we're on the same page. But I just wanted to put it out there that we're not like totally criticizing SLS. We definitely want to see SLS fly.
Exactly.
And we support the people that are working on that sort
Bingo.
of thing. But I understand why it's a little bit different, because it is it's taxpayer funded, and
Right.
they have to be a little bit more careful. But I really did like what Elon was saying. I think it's towards the bottom of my notes. What was it? If it's if the schedule's long, it's wrong, and if it's tight, it's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said it a few times. I was like,
And he's like,
Management by rhyming. Yeah.
he said if the design takes a long time to build, it's the wrong design, and the best part is no part. I like that. I, like simplify,
Yeah.
in every way you can. And I think that maybe the tendency in spaceflight is to have as many systems as possible, keeping everything running.
Exactly.
Making sure that there are no problems, but simplifying might be the way to go. And this will go back to something that I really liked when I first stumbled across Elon Musk. Was it was his first TED Talk, not presentation, because it was more like an interview, and he talked about going back to first principles. You don't, like, obviously you take what other people have learned and you try to apply it, but you don't have to build straight on top of what has been done before. You go back to the first principles of physics and say what can be done based on the knowledge we have learned, but what if we scrapped everything we did before and we started from scratch and tried to build as if we don't have to do all these other little things in the meantime. It's like
Right.
SLS is built on top of shuttle hardware, and they thought
Exactly.
that it was sold as if it was going to make it easy, and I'm sure they believed it. I believe that they thought that it was going to be fairly easy to go from shuttle to SLS. Turns out it wasn't that easy.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
maybe it would have been better to go back to the drawing board and just start from scratch with all of the knowledge that you've gained and try to build something fresh and new.
Yeah.
I'll still be excited to see the SLS launch, though.
I can't wait.
That's gonna be one heck of a launch. I'll tell you that right now.
It'll be the
Very
closest
impressive.
thing I've ever been to seeing a shuttle launch because I never got to see one.
Yeah,
Same.
Oh,
Exactly.
thank goodness I'm not the only one there. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Great.
no, I was still in Tennessee at the time, and I wanted so badly, and I was trying, and I was even talking about it, like, I'm going to try to get some days off or whatever, and just, I think it came down to a financial thing. I think my car may have even broken down, like, a couple of weeks before the final flight of Atlantis, and I never got to see it. I
Yeah.
saw it because I did grow up in Lakeland, Florida, which is in the middle of the state, and I do remember being in like kindergarten or first grade, and they took us outside, and I could see something going up, and it just looked like an airliner,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and
But never being there, though.
never
Like,
being there, and I couldn't hear it, I couldn't feel it, so I definitely.
I have. Ha ha.
Ha
I've lived here all my life. So.
Get out of there!
Kegel.
Missing out. You'll never know. Well, till SLS will be, I think. I'll let you know. When we go watch it, I'll go, this is like the shuttle was.
It will be. I'm a
Find
little
out.
afraid of the politics that might take place between now and I don't know when Starship lands on the moon. I'm worried about that stuff because you have. Man, I don't know much about politics, and I don't like politics, but you have politicians that are really supportive of SLS, and they're supportive of their constituents because they want to have jobs for their constituents to do, and I totally understand that. But there's gonna possibly come a day that Starship lands on the moon, and that's gonna put a big question mark on NASA funding. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I do not want to be cut ever. NASA is like they're the leaders in all of this. Everything that's possible now for all the private companies to do is only possible because of NASA.
Exactly.
And
We got a
everything
comment.
that we'll be able to do in the future is only possible because of NASA.
There was a comment in the chat room from Joe, and he said the SLS is a jobs program, not a space program.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
You almost can't argue.
I can't
not.
disagree with you. And at the time, at its inception, it seemed more like something that was necessary. We need a super heavy lift vehicle to be able to get lots of payload into orbit, and that's great. That's what we need. We need to be able to get a lot of stuff into orbit so that we can get it to the moon, get it to Mars, and have something that we can rely on for years to come to be able to get our astronauts, to other worlds. But NASA paved the way so that there's so much knowledge that was taxpayer bought, and private companies can come along and they can tap into that knowledge. And then these private companies can move faster. They can say, okay, well, I got that knowledge. All right, well, we're going to use that knowledge and we're going to do this, and we're going to do it faster because we have to make money. They need to become profitable. And so I think that's why we're kind of in this predicament. And they don't want to take the however many billions of dollars that they've spent building something and then just throw it away. It's the sunk cost fallacy. How do you sell that to the taxpayers? Hey, by the way, we spent all this money trying to develop this thing, and now we're not going to fly it. You kind of got to fly it.
Yeah, at least once.
Yeah, we're at that point. It's got to fly.
It's got to.
Yeah. Too much money involved now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, Seth
Scrap.
says, I
Scrap
don't know.
isn't that.
Yeah, if they scrapped it now, there'd be a lot of angry people.
Mhm.
There'd be a lot of angry people like, what about all that money?
Yeah.
Just
Well, and I hate
launch
to say
already.
it, but awful lot of people out of jobs on the Space Coast, and
Exactly.
for as fast as you got Blue Origin growing, they're still not hiring at the rate to fill all of those buildings yet. You can't lose a program like that.
Right.
I guess it does go back to the jobs, but maybe the answer isn't so much jobs program, but holding our suppliers accountable, our contractors, the
Yeah.
secondary folks too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
checks and balances.
Seth says, I don't know. I still don't think Starship will be able to land on the moon. I think once that study they are doing with NASA is done, they will realize that it's just too large to land. Yeah, they are doing a study. What is this? What is the study that they're doing with them? It has to do with the effect of the engines on the lunar regolith or something like that. What is it? Let's see.
Oh,
SpaceX.
is it a dust study?
Yeah, something like that.
Is Phil
Contract.
involved in that? From Swampworks?
I don't know.
I wonder.
Let's see. Okay, Blue
Because,
Origin. Oh man, long article, and I'm not sure if I can find it quickly. Yeah, that's going to be too hard. I don't want to sit here and try to skim through an
Read
article.
through all that.
it's a technical article, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well-
either way, they're working. They are working with NASA on how to land safely on the moon, basically, without getting a bunch of dust and stuff all up inside your engine and screwing everything up.
Well, I guess you got kind of dust. You got, shoot. I mean, you don't want, yeah. I mean, ooh. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
you're-
because the first time you land,
I guess I just never thought of it that way. I hadn't heard of the study yet.
yeah, the first time
So
you
yeah,
land,
I mean, you got it up in your engine. You got it potentially wrecking, even though they're miles away. You got wrecking those historical sites, even just with no gravity.
Yeah, because there's
Whoa.
nothing, there's no
Yeah.
atmosphere to slow the dust down. Once you get it flying, it's just going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're landing on a landing pad that first time.
Yeah.
The first time you're just landing straight on ground.
Well, yeah. Just think of Hopper. I
Like, how
still
much
think it's
dust that made,
crazy
yeah.
they launched even just one Raptor engine without a flame trench, and how much that kicked up on its way up and down,
Yeah.
and that's on Earth.
Right. Yeah.
And how many Raptors you talking about on that?
Yeah.
Actually,
I
like
think it's
being
3.
used to land,
I think
three
it's
to
3.
land.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's 3. I mean,
Okay, well, one
they're in
Raptor
triple
on Earth.
symmetry, so I would assume that ideally they would have.
Yeah.
That's our sound. If anybody says Raptor.
Boom.
Okay, so okay, yeah, Joe McCurdy. They're doing a lunar orbital descent study. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe.
And
I know that name.
yeah, it's the effects of those engines when they're landing. Well, also the dust entering orbit around the moon. So I didn't think about that. So you're saying that, and I guess that's totally possible. The speed
is.
of the engine's exhaust could propel the dust into lunar orbit.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
That was the other thing. Yeah.
Give the moon an atmosphere, and then
Wait. Okay, wait. But okay, wait. But what we learned from
Okay, so-
what we learned from Kerbal is that when something goes into orbit, the point at which the acceleration happens, that alters your altitude on the other side, but then it will come back to the same altitude that it was at. So will that dust come back around and then impact the ground again? Huh? Seth, you want to help me out?
That's a good question.
Because I would think so. Because if you're on the ground and that dust accelerates from that point out, and then it has orbital velocity around the moon, but then it comes back to the the point of origin, and the point of origin is okay. You see, I mean, yeah. Then it will come back and strike the rocket. Yes.
Yeah. Which no one wants
No,
that.
Good
escape
point.
Yeah.
home.
Good
Yeah, because
point.
then it'll blow up. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point. Thank you, Seth.
You need that to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna need that thing.
So maybe bigger isn't better when you're talking the moon. Keep something in lunar
Man.
orbit. Yeah.
Wait. Okay, but we've got so many other things going on. We could like land something on the moon other than
Build the pad?
Starship and build the pad, right? And keep the pad
Robots.
clean. Yeah, totally.
Robots.
Blue
3D
Origin.
printing.
Landed those, right?
Blue Origin is going to build SpaceX's landing pad. Pow!
How?
2 billionaires working together.
Well,
Wait,
then you got
we're-
ULA. You got your cislunar economy. Come on, you got ULA doing that
Yep.
with fueling in orbit, resources being mining. Hello. I mean,
Eventually, they're
it's
all
got-
going to have to learn how to work together
They're
and play
gonna
nice.
have to play together.
Yeah, with
Yep.
SpaceX.
That's
See, the
basic.
thing is Blue Origin and ULA can work together just fine, but
Yeah.
they don't seem.
Yeah.
Well, now to be fair, Tori Bruno.
Wait. To be fair,
To- Huh?
Tori can talk to Gwen just fine.
Yeah,
They get along.
yeah,
That's what matters, right?
right. Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Tori did give Matt a little bit of crap about his Blue Origin hat whenever he met
Yeah, I
him.
was gonna say he did not like my Blue Origin hat.
Oh.
And I
He
gave
did
him the
not
go
like
ahead.
it.
He's like, man, I don't have a ULA hat. I was like, well, you got a Blue Origin hat. Wear that. I mean, they're building their engine, so this should be buddies, right? And then Tori
Okay, yeah,
kind of,
that's pretty sound right there. Yeah.
Tori kind of gave him a hard time about his Blue Origin hat.
He was just
Ooh.
like, we'll just stick you in the back end of what did he say? The back end of a Vulcan, and we'll take care of that hat right away.
Really? Oh
So,
man.
On the note of hats, what was the bet? Remind me again, y'all. What was the bet between Elon and Tori? Who was going to eat whose hat with mustard and when? What had to fly?
Oh. Man,
What had to fly?
Oh,
I have to look way back in my screenshots to find that one. But if somebody beats somebody in orbit with what? Maybe is it Starship? Then Tori was going to eat his hat, or Elon was going to eat his
if
hat.
Starship
Either was.
flew before Vulcan or something.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. Starship.
Are you
Yeah.
Googling Kegel?
Yeah.
Giggles a googling.
Elon Musk, I will eat my hat if the competitor's rocket flies before 2023.
2020.
Oh, I think Vulcan's going to fly
I
before
do.
2023.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I just really want to see Elon eat a hat with mustard. Just saying. Just a little bit of humble pie that maybe ULA as a company independent of its parents just might be able to do something, huh?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
I think they could.
I think.
I'm cheering them on.
I think Tori definitely has the right idea. He wants to take that company places, and he wants to be at the top of the game.
He's the guy to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one.
And he's such a great guy too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's so awesome.
I never met him. I don't know.
Oh, he's great, man.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously.
he's so awesome. I've met him twice now. He is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So somebody asked him about Jim Bridenstine's statement.
Ooh, that was a cringe moment there for
That
me. I was like, oh,
man, I was like, wait, how am I supposed to take this? And
like, ooh, you went there. I knew it was a question we all wanted to ask, but
yeah, I didn't want to chime in on it at all.
yeah.
But when asked, Elon said that he said that resources are overwhelmingly on Falcon and Dragon, and I believe him. In fact, actually, you guys should go out and listen to Houston. We have a podcast. It is a podcast, and the latest
It's a good
episode.
podcast.
Yeah, very good. The latest episode has his name's Benji Reeves. Let me figure that out. But he's over the Crew Dragon program.
Okay.
You should definitely go and listen to that. I mean, it seemed kind of serendipitous that podcast came out around the same time, but they're definitely totally on board. You know, they're not distracted by Starship. Obviously, they have people working on Starship, and if you get the impression that they're distracted by Starship, it's probably because there's just a lot of people, a lot of just the public that are excited about Starship.
Right. Right.
Let's see, SpaceX. What's his name?
Benji Reed.
It's Benji Reed. Okay, yeah, and he's the
Director of Crew Mission Management for SpaceX.
excellent. Thank you. Yeah, he was the one that was the speaker for the NASA Social conference news briefing or whatever. You remember whenever we were at the for Crew Dragon, NASA Social for Crew Dragon, Julia.
NASA Social for Crew Dragon. I've never been to one of those. That's not me.
Yeah, you're on your own for that.
Oh,
now,
shit.
now all three of us were at ULA, the ULA social, but not Crew Dragon. You're by yourself, man.
I was alone.
Yeah, dude. You're talking to the girl who never made it into a NASA Social. ULA all the way on that one.
That's unbelievable. Well, anyway, he was the one speaking to us for that event.
That's cool.
But yeah, so go and go listen to the Houston We Have a podcast because they give a very in-depth look at where Crew Dragon is right now, and they actually talk about the anomaly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not afraid, and he goes into pretty good detail explaining why that happened and why they understand it. And according to Benji, that was a failure that no one had ever experienced, that type of failure on that type of system, and it actually was it was informative for the industry as a whole.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty cool. It was just where the valve that was separating the pressurized helium from the fuel had allowed some of the fuel to leak back into the plumbing, and it settled into this little spot. And then when they open up the valves to allow the pressurized helium to come in and pressurize the fuel system, it basically shot that little spot of fuel into the back of the valve that it had leaked through, and caused some things to break, and that's what caused the explosion. And he's like, yeah, that was unexpected by us. It was unexpected by everybody that we had talked to, and so it was informative for everybody. And then they switched to the burst discs, which can't allow any leaking, and once they've been used, they do have to be replaced, because once you pressurize the system, it'll push it through.
And that's why we test things.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. And man, I've just seen too many comments online about how that was somehow careless on their part for that to have happened. Like, no, it would have been careless to have never run that test.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, what if they didn't test and there was like actually astronauts on board and that happened?
I know.
That's why tests are important.
That's right.
Yeah.
We test to ensure the safety of lives.
Mm-hmm. Both the lives that are flying and the lives on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So did you guys catch the part where someone asked him about contaminants on Mars? And he kind of blew it off.
I think that was Chris G.
Was it Chris?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Chris G.
Yeah, it was Chris.
Yeah.
He's like, well, that's really long term down the road there. I mean,
yeah, and he was talking about how, the environment has basically rendered Mars like uninhabitable or sterile, at least on the surface, right?
Yeah.
But if there's anything alive, it's way under the surface, and it's very hardy. And I know that he'll catch flack for that in the planetary protection community,
Yeah.
because they want to be careful. And I understand, like, that's one of those areas where I'm like, it's hard for me I don't even want to think about it, because I'm so torn on that, because I want us to get to Mars, but I don't want to screw up the possibility of us definitely confirming life on another planet. It's that whole thing where if we find something alive, we need to make sure that we know that we didn't put it there.
Yeah, like oops with the Israeli lander in the moon and the little tardigrade. However you pronounce it, you know where I'm going there.
Yep.
Our little water babies there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. What do you?
Oopsie.
What
We
do you?
didn't think the lander had the possibility of crashing. Okay.
Yeah, but
Oh,
they encased it in something, right? I don't know.
sorta.
I
I
think
mean, they were still a living being in the
yeah,
sense of what they are. But I'm sure it's okay.
it's a little unfair to them. The living
Right?
beings
They
are
didn't
like,
ask for this.
what am I doing here? I can see the Earth. I think the debate about that, at least my impression has been like, the people that are really into this stuff, it's more like, well, this just highlights the fact that we don't have a system to govern that. Like, yeah, they did that without letting anybody know, but there's also no real like punishable rules about that. Like,
Yeah.
hey, now you should have told us that you were going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Who exactly do you tell? I
Yeah,
mean,
and
hello.
if they had told you, then would you have stopped the flight, or could you have stopped the flight?
Yeah. Do you have that power, or is it simply I paid to have it there, so it's going there,
Right.
or I
Right.
donated it, so it's going. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, it's like there needs to be something done, but I also am not always in favor of just more laws. We'll just make more laws.
Let's regulate something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to America.
All right.
No.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Seth said if we learned anything from the Martian, bacteria can still survive the Martian vacuum after a day. Well,
Interesting.
thank you, Mark Watney. Joe McCurdy said, yeah, it probably vaporized on impact. Yeah, that's probably true. Depending on how fast it came down, right?
Yeah. Probably.
But, and if it's encased, it's encased. Either way, there's, like, we're talking about Mars possibly having life at some point or some depth below the surface. The moon almost certainly does not, right?
True.
Yeah.
No.
And the only way for these for the tardigrades to be reanimated, of course, that's their big feature, is that they're able to be reanimated after being frozen or not fed for several years. They need to come in contact with liquid water and then also have an environment that they can thrive in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not enough for them to just touch some water and now they're good to go. They need to have, they got to have a food source. There's no food source on the moon. Not on the surface. If there's anything, it's way below the surface.
Right.
Oh, let's see. What else? Life support. He kind of blew that one off tee. He said, yeah, regenerative life support, of course. Yeah, okay. It's not that hard.
He did say that with the same,
There's lots of
same cubic
resources
feet
out
as the
there, right?
space station.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. How'd you go so quickly? That was when he was talking about if it's long, it's wrong, and if it's tight, it's right.
That's my next
Yeah.
t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, Tesla rover. Yeah, sure. We'll do Tesla rover. And, of course, the boring machine or the boring company will do the boring machine on there.
I mean, all that would have to be. The boring machine to do that, you have to send all the parts and assemble it there. You're not going to.
Oh,
launch the
okay.
whole thing from here.
I thought it was interesting. He was asked about if they still wanted to do 100 people, and he said they probably still could do 100 people, and that would give 10 cubic meters per person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very much.
But they said once you're in,
Yeah,
your team, you can move around. It's a different story, but
3 meters by 3 meters, and I think that 3 meters is, let's see, how tall? Wait, what's 6 foot? Convert 3 meters
Hey,
to
Siri.
feet. It's 9 feet. Okay, it's 9.84 feet. So it's roughly 10 feet by 10 feet. Okay, I could see that.
Think of Loft in New York, dude. Loft in New York.
Okay, I've been in them once. I've been in New York one time, and it was I went to a friend's apartment. Yes, they are tiny.
Or like a shower on a cruise ship.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not bad. That's not bad.
Hmm.
Well, folks, what do you think? Got anything else to add? I feel like we should wrap this up.
I'm excited. I'd like
Yeah.
to see these timelines, but it's not going to happen. But it's still going to be faster than any
Yeah.
other program that's been going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be awesome.
All right,
And hopefully
folks. Huh?
They
Go ahead.
delay on that railroad track over here, and we stay pumping right here down the
Yeah.
street.
Delay.
Yeah, I don't have to miss that part. That's good. I don't have to miss Starship being moved. I hope that everyone's still going to be excited now that we've seen like a fully constructed one. Like they're still going to be excited about the one that we have. Wait, ours is just a little bit behind, okay?
Still
We
watching that thing
started
roll down
later.
the road.
We started later.
It's
Hold
true.
on. We
yeah.
started later.
We started
Yes.
quite a bit later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking back at my pictures. It was May. It was the middle of May, y'all. That's not that long ago.
Is that's
Right.
when
And even then, when we first saw it, what? It was a nose cone? Barely?
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. You could not see it
When-
from far away, that's for sure.
Well, no. So that main stack hadn't even been built, and they were building the nose cone when we first saw it. So I'd say that's pretty good progress since May.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I wonder if
They're
they're going to
jamming
put the
over there.
flaps and stuff on before they move it.
rumor is John Van Horn saw a flap there just a couple days ago.
Oh, Johnny boy.
I'm going to cruise by
Oh,
tomorrow.
Johnny boy, go look at his feed, John. I looked a little closer from what he posted. It looks like it is one of those fin flap things. So yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, that's
I
going
wanna
to be
see it.
cool.
I want to see
Yeah.
it
So
up close.
I'm wondering if they're thinking later October, are we going to see them do a test stack out here for fit before they ship it? Maybe we'll see something like that.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
that'd be
I
nice.
hope so.
Yeah. We might see that, and then because MK Mark 1, they got to disassemble that anyways, so we know it. They can test stack it and take it apart before they ship it, right?
Right.
Right.
Maybe we'll see
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But let's
yeah,
cross the
totally.
fingers for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured if you have any issues, you already have it. You're building it there. You
Right.
can fix whatever you need to do before you try to reassemble it.
Yeah.
on another site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I want to see it in person, and I just can't go to Texas.
Yeah, right?
Right. And I can
I'll
only take so many bus tours to keep checking on things. I mean,
Right.
that speaking of time lapses, that is my goal. I want to get enough times going past there that I
Oh,
can
piece it
somehow
all
link together some shots.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But man, that's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah.
But we'll see what I get when we're all done. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
trying to visit as often as I can that way. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll try to keep y'all updated. I mean, it is the Space Coast. It seems like we should have like the lowdown on what's
Right.
going on over there, but we just can't. We just don't have the visibility. That's just a fact. But I'm happy for everybody in Texas that they get to have this. That they're
That's
that
super
they're
exciting
ahead.
to see everyone there.
Yes.
God, yeah.
Shout out to all them out there.
Constant live
Austin
stream.
and S
Did you
Padre
see Austin
and
got to hug the Starship today?
I saw that,
No.
yeah. Yeah, I saw the
No.
picture,
he
yeah.
posted a picture. He got to
Yeah.
hug a fan.
He was like,
Oh,
finally got to hug Starship. And I was like, oh, look at you, man.
Mm.
All this
dude.
months of documenting, he finally got to hug it. That's awesome.
that is
And you
so
know what?
cool.
I think that's the best part of this is that we get to see it and we get to help record it.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
I mean, even if we don't get to see it too much more than this, we got to see it this far. So
Yeah.
we'll
Most-
see it
most
launch.
excitement
Dang
in
it.
Cocoa I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've been here since 2001. Living out here.
All y'all have seen. I still have yet to go to Coco and see the Starship here. So it's on the list. It's on the
Man,
list.
you're only an hour away. Jesus.
I know. I try to come as often as I can,
He's a
but
busy man.
yeah.
All right, Kegel, I think you got something to wrap us up over there.
Oh, I sure
Uh-oh.
do. What happened?
Oh, okay. I
Oh,
thought maybe you didn't have it pulled up.
Nope.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.